Okay, so what we get from layer 1 is we get information about who enters, their progress through, and when they complete. So if we think about this is year 0, this is year 2, and we know a little bit about what's going on along the way. Year 1. And then from the layer 2, completer and alumni data, what we get are who completes, of course, and who completes and remains or obtains in-field employment and out-of-field employment. So from these data, what we get essentially are like a scatter plot of students who achieve very high and obtain in-field employment, students who may be high achievers but have out-of-field employment, students who may drop out at the midway point in their program but obtain in-field or out-of-field employment, and then some information about students who may be a few courses in, get a certificate, some sort of industry certification and leave, and or students who just leave the program altogether and get another kind of job. Now with a scatter plot like that, what we have the ability to do through the interviews is really chart some pathways of these students. So what we're able to do through the interviews is have a student backtrack his or her journey through the program. So for example, we might want to pay attention to the high completers, the ones who are in the area of having completed well and are in-field employed. So if we take their journeys backwards and have them reflect, we'll know, for example, to ask them about that one semester where they had to take some time off and find out a little bit more about that. And so we can identify critical junctures as well as things that they really felt helped them achieve very high, and ask questions about that. And that's how we can identify areas in which we're supporting students well, and then areas in which students need more support. So if we do that several times, we can get a sense of how those journeys are crossing and where they are diverging, and other places where critical junctures are occurring. And that's why it's very important to interview to saturation, because you need to have charted enough of those journeys to see some commonalities. And those commonalities can be, this person had a pretty easy journey in, this person had a little tough time near the end. So we can find out things like, there was a critical juncture in the near graduation, and there was one that was critical but not nearly as hindering. But then also we're finding out that for students who really were high achievers, there were particular things supporting them throughout. So when you interview through to saturation, you get to identify these commonalities and know which areas of your program you can really leverage for strength, and which areas you need to really beef up with particular kinds of services.